Alright, there's a fair few things going on here, so I'm going to have to explain on the fly while holding. So I'm holding my phone. This is an example of industrialism, or like, on the fly, or just getting it done. I don't have a whiteboard or a tripod, but what I have is like a chair, and that's actually like there's a base from a bed that was here, and like it's just been leaning on the wall because I was going to do something. But see how it's got these slats. Like what I'm going to do, my phone case is like one of those wallet ones. So I'll come around here and I'll just kind of flop the case over like that, over near these things. Takes a bit of finesse to get right. Let me rethink this. I need something to sit behind it. Right, this is like a bit of paper that just hopefully slide behind there. Might need to fold it a couple of times. All right. So, I mean, this is working. This is a door, and I use this door obviously for the metaphor that our screens aren't big enough. I think it's a major problem in society. It's a form of like design flaw. We fucked up on a design of the size of the size of the thing that we use, of the interface. So this is like an example of a bigger interface, but today, as well as that, it's got a couple of uses. I'm going to use it as a pseudo whiteboard, and I can see a couple of reasons why this isn't going to work already. But this is design on the fucking fly, on the fly, So how can we start this? Maybe what we could do, I could estimate how much money would have already been spent by the government to get someone to do this. So right, already, because it can't just be the person pick up a phone and lean it on the thing and talk. It can't be the politician, it can't be the premier, so it's got to be like there's something down from that. It's called a system. So we've got like a premier at the top, that's in there. I'm going to put a little crown on it, because the last couple have kind of thought that they're a bit of a crown. So look, even from here, like I can just zoom in. That's the crown up there. It's just left. It's like just there. It's not actually the crown, because they've forgotten about them. They're trying to destroy that structure. They put themselves there. That's just now the state. And it's weirdly actually like they're trying to be like the WA state, and we're pals with the Victorian state, and we're pals with the others. And then the Prime Minister's just this big like, look at me, I'm a big fucking dumb asshole, who is irrelevant because it's this divisionist attempt under one uniform ideal of what basically is communism. And it's not even, it's weird. It's fucking weird. And it's really simple to expose. So that's the premier of the state, right? And they're just in communication. They're just like, how do we do this? I want to be the king. So he's the king up there. But yeah, he can't just talk to you. He has a structure that's like, looks something like this. Like, so you'll already see, I've like drawn this, and I've already stuffed up, because see that the initial line just underneath him isn't wide enough to actually start those branching things correctly. So that's already in my drawing. That's a design issue. It's a flaw. You have to excuse me. I need to turn the air fryer back on. So yeah, that's one design flaw already. Myself, that I'm providing my own food, I chopped my own potatoes, put them in an air fryer, which is like a genius processing device, so I can process chips at home. And I use butter instead of fucking whatever. So that saved me, like, I went and got them myself, bag of potatoes, chopped them, and I'm gonna have some other stuff. That's probably, if I went and bought that, I mean, I think if I break it down, 8 meals worth for the same price of 1 meal. So that's 8-time efficiency that I've done it myself. For what like the inconvenience is tiny, like even that, it's a tiny price. Anyway, completely separate thing. But yeah, this structure here, I already have made one design flaw by not making that line there. Does that work? That kind of works, doesn't it? See this, I'm discovering as I go. That line isn't big enough to do all the branches, but in comparison, the Premier could just do what I'm doing. And then we're at a total cost, my total cost right now, including lunch, is about $2.50 because I've already got the phone, I use the chair I already had, used the frame instead of the tripod, and I'm using this instead of a whiteboard. And I'll zoom in here, and I'm using my own hands instead of a film crew. Now, immediately we can see here, another design flaw of this methodology is that when I wrote that, it's backwards. And I'm not quite Da Vinci level, so I'm gonna have a hard time in writing backwards, but we learn as we go. And maybe it's not backwards when I press end. Who knows, we'll find out. But yeah, that's a $2.50 cost. Let's try and add up the running costs of this type of thing if the Premier directly spoke to the camera. I'm gonna write this. I'm gonna do it like this, so see if I can do it. Let's see. So all I wrote there, and I did it on the fly backwards. I did the Y backwards, that sucks. What I'll do is I'll draw a circle around it to show that this is in peace. That's a peace sign. Way more. So it costs way more for the Premier to speak directly to his phone because it requires what could be described as an army below it. I don't need an army because I'm just talking into my phone. So it's amazing cost. Wish I had wrote that the other way backwards, but you learn as you go, right? You learn as you go. So this is a one-to-one scale communication between myself, a lowly peasant. I'd be like, I think in the current structure of this, say that's a ladder. See those nice levels in this thing? That's another ingenious use of this thing. I'd be somewhere down here as potato peelings are thrown out the window to me to provide my nourishment. I'd like to know what the Premier's having for lunch right now, and add up the cost to evenly distribute that lunch to the entire state, and see whether he can match the $2.50 of the peasant. So the peasantry seems to be far more efficient as we ride the innovation tsunami. Like if this is the size of we're going to lose this in the thing, right? You can kind of see that wave there. That's a huge wave. That's the bottom of it there, and that's the top of it. It's a massive wave because this is me right here. That's me as I zoom in on that huge. Look how big the wave is, right? And that's a big wave because I'm little, so it's like huge, and I'm riding that tsunami of innovation right there. Alrighty. Lunch. I've been having quite a simplistic diet, very very simple carbs, and I've found it to be quite good, quite a good base to know that you can go there without having too many issues. It's a really freeing feeling to know that you can live off such a small amount of money if you had to. I'd never, consider that a strategy for everyone, but individually, it's a great experiment to do. It will make you feel a lot more wealthy by having an accurate comparison that isn't skewed by perhaps beliefs that aren't based in reality. So from that, I've got nourished from that food, and now I'm going to show you an example of iteration. So when I said I've already seen some problems, this lattice or ladder thing I'm using to have my phone up, I've lifted it to eye height, so hopefully that's more better. Maybe I should stand back here so that I can do something like this. Now, because the thing's in the way, because it's directly in front of it, the color, this discoloration of the frame was kind of stuffing up you couldn't see what I was writing, because we need a white background, don't we? This is whiteboard that we're trying to recreate here, which is actually very similar. Most whiteboards are just that. All right. So now we have, let's just, what's that saying? Don't air your dirty laundry in public. Yeah, I suppose so. Don't air your dirty laundry in public. The bike's in the way as well, but we'll just ignore that. Actually, no, we'll move it. So now you can see, that the size of that wave of innovation, because it's got the white background behind it. And it's almost like, I don't know what, I promise that's just a coincidence where that rod has kind of gone through the king's head. That just a coincidence. Sometimes nothing, no meaning behind it. But yeah, that's, and then see here, we're getting to a near, I'm gonna have to play around with it, but see how I'm talking, ready? Look, I'm looking into the mirror, looking at you there. See this shot, and the way I'm seeing this shot to show you is I can see into the mirror, I can see the phone, and then look, I'm having a one-to-one scale conversation with this person. It's like the same size as me, and all this body language and these types of communication methods are, they're all able to easily be shown. I'm hoping you can see me from all the way back here, because I've got twice the distance I'm traveling to get to there. Makes the mind boggle, doesn't it? These types of things, what I'm trying to do here, the difficulty, this is what I believe our subconscious is trying to do with the size of the screens, and it goes even deeper than that. This is optimal. Look at this. How beautiful is this? You can imagine really nice, harmonious music. Look, this is the first example of one-to-one scale touch through a digital medium, if we can get to here. A couple of things we're going to have to figure out, but I reckon we can do it, and I think this should be the base model, not everywhere, not everyone needs one. Everyone at some point needs this, at some point, so that everything, like when I drew this hierarchy here, so that we have the king level communication, which is one-to-one. Then, because we have that digital example, then all other digital examples will fall under that structure. If you climb any type of hierarchy or any type of progress or you want to achieve in a speech and communication method, you know that you have to be able to do this, because this has always been the way it is. And I think a lot of people are trying to bypass this and all types of funny tricks of the mind. I know, because I have done it. And so this is how I got to this conclusion. So we need a king method of communication, which is, of course, if anyone thought of this, like phones, they're going to think of this first. But this is expensive, hard to ship, hard to develop. There's actually some really tricky things to do with perception of like this actually will have to be kind of like a recreation. It's really weird. There's lots of, it's not just simple. A mirror is simple, really simple, but this concept of biggest, it's not that simple. It actually has some pretty large, but it might already be solved. It's hard to, that's a lot of work to go down and figure that out. So, but the concept is here. This is called an MVP. It's the minimal viable product. This is the base example, and I'm trying to map out and show you why I have spent over a year trying to tell you all this in combination with a bunch of other things. We need a global standard digital communication pinpoint, like decide, like a USB port. We need standardization. This is the point. If we don't have this in world leaders at the moment, then wow, maybe that's not a great idea. I don't know whether we start there or we start with, kids on holidays or kids first leaving home and going to college or university. That, but who knows? I'm open to all suggestions. I'm going to run out of data. So yeah, hopefully, I'm proud of this. I'm happy with this. We're going to all continue to ride this wave of innovation together from base principles of humanity, of course, and we're not trying to project something new into the iterative, innovative cycle. We're trying to. It's boring, but it's beautiful. We're not trying to rush off. We're trying to perfect what we've already perfected. If you can't feel, when you haven't a friend you haven't seen in a long time, and you wrap your arms around them. If we can get nearer to that, that's a good start, rather than us fucking ninja fighting in some fucking parallel matrix fucking thing. Someone's got to do the polishing. Polishing is in anything laborious. It takes a long time. It's hard to build up things, and we need to figure out how we're going to fund polishing type works of our already existing technological advancements and innovations. Thank you. Can also I will admit I may be under the influence of a small bit of marijuana. It was only resin. I'd run out of marijuana. It's quite difficult to buy without, way more difficult than anything else, really. A lot of bullshit to go through to buy that. But I will admit, yes, I am under the influence of that. And I thought I'd finished, but I hadn't finished because I forgot. There's one more thing I was meant to show you. It's through the door, and you got to always knock 3 times. That's right. And I wouldn't lie to you, so I promise this isn't staged at all. But that wave there is and it's backwards to me, but it's not backwards to all of you. Now I know because of iteration. That's a spanner there, like showing that I'm kind of working on a thing. There's a pair of scissors showing that I'm cutting a ribbon maybe. I don't know. Let's just see how we go. But that word there, that is a windsurfing thing that I got off Gumtree. And I didn't tell him tell him he was dreaming. This is hard. This is all backwards, so this is why I'm stuffing up. I didn't say tell him he's dreaming. I actually got it, and it was, it's interesting. I liked looking at the design and the things and seeing how those innovation has affected that. Same with the bike that was in the background as well. Innovation in engineering and design is a bit of a hobby of mine. But that word there, Bombora, that's an Aboriginal Aboriginal word for a fucking huge wave. And I didn't even move. This is where I was. I was right here. That's been there for like ages. I didn't think of that. That just happened. I just it's a little insight how I can just see, that just popped in my head. That's why I thought I was finished, but obviously I wasn't, because Bombora.